Everybody
Do I
rolling?
need to do a clap
We got a
sync?
clap sync.
No, that never works.
Yeah, so on the count of 3, we all clap at the same time.
It doesn't.
And then you line it up with that.
Yeah, let's do a clap sync, guys. All right,
Yeah.
ready? On
Yeah.
go. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Ow.
I think that worked really well.
I think we definitely just did 1, 2. I think we did go. No, wait. We didn't do on 3. We didn't do 3 and then go. We did go and then clap.
Yes.
This is.
I thought that was understood.
No. This is. It's.
Did you do it on go, Jonathan?
Yes, I did do it on go.
John,
Well, no. I did it after go. I did it when.
Yeah. It sounded to me that we did it all at the same time, but I also know that there's a little bit of a lag between us.
Yes,
But that's what the clap sync is for.
That is correct. So this, okay, we should, before we get too far into this, we should definitely introduce, to those of you that are familiar with our podcast.
Wait.
John,
Why
John.
do you get
we
to
got
introduce? Why can't I introduce?
I'm setting it up, man. We're just, I'm not
Okay.
good. Okay. First of all, okay, you want a reason? Because first of all, my guest, all right? He's my friend. He's not your friend.
What do you mean? We've hung out on Discord before. In a group?
Fine. Do you want the honors of introducing Chris Martin?
Oh, you bastard. No, fine. Since you've already done it, go for it.
That's the great no, the introduction's over now. You ruined it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
absolutely.
You know what?
I was gonna.
I did
I
ruin
was
it.
gonna
Of course, I
pass
ruined
the
everything.
football off, and you just spiked it into the ground. Topical because the Super Bowl is tomorrow.
It is tomorrow.
Yeah,
you guys know
man.
who you're voting for? Rooting for, whatever the term is.
No,
Whoever's winning.
Which one is football?
That's the one with the soccer, isn't it?
It's
I always get confused. You know?
the goal. It's the one where you take the ball down the field and then you score.
Is that the one that looks like rugby, but instead everybody's a pussy?
You're thinking of lacrosse?
Boy, we're coming out the gate swinging, aren't we?
Yeah, I can't wait for this to be the first recording of how I get canceled.
Dear God.
Very
Oh,
very
before we
excited to be
continue,
here.
Oh,
Jonathan,
yeah.
is your phone on silent this time?
Oh, that is a good question.
Yeah, I know.
And surprisingly, I don't know. No.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know. I don't think it was.
Of course not. It never is.
Well, because sometimes
You're always dropping the ball like the football players.
on topical because the Super Bowl is coming up.
Oh yeah, we didn't have this already.
Yeah.
Wow, this is already off to about our usual great running starts.
Yes. But welcome to the podcast. Whoa, John Talks to Lamb with our special guest, Chris Martin. Woo! Why am I the only one excited for this?
Yeah.
Hey! I am very excited to be here. Actually, I've talked to John about this for a long time.
Nice.
Yeah, and believe it or not, you're actually our very first guest. We are
I
expanding.
feel like it's pretty believable.
Yeah, well, okay,
I know,
all right.
man. That's so exciting.
How does it feel to be the very first? Okay, I was gonna phrase this in a really bad way, and then I opted against
God. Take your time.
How does
That's
it
all we
feel?
got.
Mr. Krabs, or how does
I
it
thought
feel?
there was more.
I
you
feel like a
really
rock star.
feeling
Yeah, it felt like you were holding on to a breath there. I feel like everybody's looking up to me right now. I feel like I really gotta set the bar high here, and we came to win.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Every
Yeah.
post guest will now be compared back to this one
Yep.
because I
exactly.
consider this
So,
already to be the gold standard.
Now hold on a minute.
So
That's fair.
go ahead and kick off with that new Chinese spy balloon.
Oh, that is a great one. You know they just
There's
shot down another something like
Yeah, yeah.
yesterday?
Dude, and okay, so here's what terrified me about that. They won't say that it's a balloon.
Yeah. I was actually, I think I saw it on Reddit was where I saw the story, and one of the top comments killed me because it just said, "Oh my god, I think we just killed Chitty Chitty Bang Bang."
Oh my god.
Well, they described it as a car-shaped object flying at like 40,000 feet.
At that point, though, it couldn't have been like flubber.
Flubber?
Yeah, like a car-shaped object just flying through the sky.
Are you referring to the green goo from that one movie that Robin Williams was in?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen. Okay, I have seen that movie.
You haven't seen.
I
Oh,
have
okay.
seen that movie, but it was like 22 years ago when it came out.
That's fair. Also same.
Sounds about
You
right.
forget, we're old.
Whoa, who's we?
Everybody
Dude, yeah.
over the
we're
age of 18.
I feel like you're just having a quarter life crisis, actually.
How dare you?
Since
Dude,
you're about to be 25.
You really? I am. I'm about to be 26. Thank you very much.
Wait, for real?
mhm,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That doesn't sound right to me.
And it's very bold of you to assume that I'll
Oh.
live to be 100.
Well, we've already had this discussion, but I say you'll make it to at least 32.
32, man. Yep.
And that's putting a
6
lot of
more
faith in you.
years. I think I got that. I think I got that in me.
Well, see, I predicted myself for 21 personally. I just really thought it was going to go downhill from there.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, here we are.
We made it. Yeah.
It did continue to go downhill from there, but we're still hanging on.
The good news is I think they're coming out with all this new technology to de-age people. They're solving the Wait, did we talk about this? Wait, I think you and I talked about this.
I feel like we kind of probably did. I don't remember.
You know what? If I don't
did we talk
remember it, we
about?
didn't talk about it. They're coming
That's
out with
fair.
all of this new technology, right, to de-age people. Yeah, we definitely talked about this. Never mind. It's a
No, we're just gonna have the same conversation.
No, actually, this is actually poignant for Chris because Chris is in this field of
Yeah.
How would you even describe this? Molecular biology.
Yeah, that's actually exactly it. Technically,
Okay, thank God. I'm okay. My brain isn't mush. Unlike some people in this chat, am I right?
Now hold on.
Guy whose name
Oh.
is Mush.
In this chat, my name is Lamb Chops. Thank you.
Oh, that's very true. That's very true. Different social. It's a different social. It's a different friend
different-
group.
Yeah. Well, we don't talk about that right now.
yeah, you gotta
But-
get together with the right people.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Today, and I was taking a shower before we started because I needed to take a shower, and I was, just practicing or like trying to come up with stuff to talk about, of course, like I always do, because that's, all I ever do apparently.
Right.
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 But I remembered that I was challenged to come up with a word of the day.
Oh no! The
last
word of the day is
time.
coming back already.
Well, it's been what? The last one we did had the first word of the day. So, yeah, we're continuing it. And I was challenged to come up with a word that you probably don't know. I don't know if you know this word or not, but it's a word that I learned yesterday.
Okay.
The word is regolith or regolith. Regolith. REGOLITH.
I'm pretty sure that's a Pokemon.
Dude, I was literally about to say the same thing. There's
just-
also Reggie Steele and Reggie Ice.
Well, you see, while that
Exactly
may
what I was
be
thinking.
true, it probably came. Oh my god! Wait, no, you're thinking of Gigalith, and then the Reggies as well.
I would not presume I'm
Gigalith.
thinking of anything. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Okay, I gotta turn myself
Man.
down. I feel like I'm holding back a lot.
Go for it. Go for it.
I feel like I'm trying to muffle myself over here.
no, just go crazy, dude.
Well,
But
yeah, I know. Just not talking at normal volume. All right. Anyway.
so, regolith is actually a cool word that I learned while doing some research
Well,
yesterday.
I don't know what it is. First of all, I'm gonna come out the gate here before you pull the trigger on the defining what it is.
Got it.
But
Perfect.
now, while I don't know what it is, I feel like I could accurately guess what it is.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, go for it. I
Yes,
want to
yeah.
hear your guesses. That's part of it.
Regolith, right? It's a
Uh-huh.
lith,
Mhm.
which means it's some sort of writing thing based
Mhm.
on its Latin origins.
Oh yeah.
Do you disagree with this, Chris? Like
No,
lithography.
no, no, not
lithography.
no. You're
Is that a real word?
completely correct. I just thought, I thought lith always involves stone for some reason.
Well, there's like a lithograph is a stone. It's a lithograph is like a way that they put like they transfer like a painting. It's a very high quality copy, but it's done with a stone. So you could be very right that it could be more stone versus writing.
Well, see, what I was thinking was cryptolith, and that is from Destiny 2, which is obviously fact.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure that has something to do with writing. So anyway, I'm sorry. Please continue.
Well,
It's
writing.
writing.
Yeah,
You
okay.
blew my mind. Is what just happened there. We're gonna skyrocket past Joe Rogan popularity right here.
Okay. So we've determined the second half, right? It's a lith. So it's a writing on a stone, and then the Reggie part, right? Is like
it's not Reggie, it's Rego, actually, like REGO.
Okay, so I'm classifying the Latin base of it. Rego,
Got it. My
Reggie,
bad.
Regin, all its Latin origins. It I believe would come back to king, because I believe Regis is like a king kind of thing. Okay. So it's writing on a stone about a king.
Like the writings on the wall kind of deal.
Yes, it's like how what's his face pulled the sword out of the stone.
King Arthur?
Yes, that guy.
Yeah.
Got it.
Dude, so many things about your chain of logic just now blew my mind. Because at some point during your chain of logic, you said Reggie Rega, and I heard regenerate, and all of a sudden my brain locked onto that. It was like, oh, it's obviously a medical language writing.
Oh,
and
okay.
that is I don't think that's relevant at all. I literally just took that off of one thing you said.
Well, I mean, I may or may not be right. How would you define that word, Chris? Do you know that word, first of all?
No.
Okay,
Your guess is way better than I would have had. Mine was going to involve a stone.
All right. Well, now I guess we can officially reveal what the word does mean.
Yes.
Wordmaster?
That's me. I'm the word master. So, I'll start off the bat saying that it does kind of deal with stone.
Oh.
Believe it or not. So, regolith is a blanket of unconsolidated, loose, heterogeneous, superficial deposits covering solid rock. What does that mean, you ask? Well, it's basically dust, broken rocks, and soil. That's really all it is.
Okay, you know what? I'm hereby banning like geography and rock and earth related topics, because we had one about snow last time that we didn't know either.
That's not my fault. You chose that word.
I know, and then you went from snow to rocks.
Well, yeah, because I was doing research on the moon.
What kind of research?
Well, you see...
What you doing up there, Elon Musk?
Well, it's sort of research on the moon. I was bored last night, and so I saw this thing on TikTok about somebody who was making a comic book series, and he had this really cool character with a unique power to make his tattoos become real. And so I was like, that's a pretty unique power. I want to create powers or characters with unique powers too. And so I started just writing random things down, and one of my characters that I wrote is named Lunatic or Moondust, depending on, I don't know which one I like better. And the way she got her powers is she got bit from a tick from the moon. And I was just like,
that stick.
Incredible.
Yeah. And so she, she was an astronaut, and so that was a whole thing. And I was just kind of researching like stuff about the moon, and I was like, Moondust, that's kind of a cool name. And so I looked up Moondust, and the first thing that said was regolith. And I said, what the hell is a regolith? And so that's where that came from. But basically, regolith is loose rocks and soil above solid rock. So anything above like bedrock is considered regolith. But soil is regolith, but regolith is not soil, which I learned that because soil is specifically the area of the ground where plants' roots grow. So that was kind of interesting to learn as well. But yes, that is my word of the day, regolith.
Yeah, clapping.
Yeah. I think you're just jealous because I blew your mind.
Well, my eyes were actively crossing trying to understand what you were talking about.
I did get a little confused in it. But
I
I got the
apologize.
I got the
That
gist. No, I think part of it was that I latched on to you creating the character that got bit by a tick on the moon.
Yeah.
Because because it also sparked this interesting idea that I had, in that one of the things that we all do together is we play D&D. And one of my characters doesn't have like a fleshed out backstory, and I kept it really cryptic because I was, one, kind of lazy to write one, and two, it also fit with the character. Um, but
Fair.
it
That's
got me
fair.
thinking, and I was like, you could probably go to this new AI that's on the internet and have it help you write a backstory for your character.
You're of
yeah.
course referring to ChatGPT, I assume.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Believe it or
that's the
not,
one.
we actually played around with it. Oh, maybe a couple months back. Before, I guess, right at the beginning of its big rise to popularity.
Hmm.
And had it right. My cousin was like, "You should try this thing out because it's really, it's really cool. You could do all sorts of stuff in it." Just like, oh, all right, let me try having it generate a quest line for me. That way,
Hmm.
I wouldn't have to use my brain. I was like, yeah, dude, let me see what this has, and it actually generated a pretty cool. Because I put in, I forget the exact prompt that I put in there, but it generated like 3 or 4 major plot points and a twist at the end of it, and was just like, oh, I can now take exactly what this told me, turn around, and I could have just instantly run it for the people in the room with me at that moment.
Yeah.
It's such a powerful tool.
You could go from having to on the fly, like DMing and having your characters show up somewhere and be like, I want to go talk to that one random fuck in the corner over there, and you're like, God, seriously? Why? Um, and yeah, all of a sudden now you can just pop open the internet and like help me build some sketchy guy that's stood in the corner of a bar.
Yep. Yep.
And yeah, next thing you know, you have a fully fleshed NPC with like a backstory, and
He's actually the BBEG, but they don't know it yet.
he's actually the Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, a lot of prep work for DMing, especially on a lot more open what do you call it? Open world stuff rather than more railroady sort of narrative stuff.
Hmm.
A lot of it has to do with being able to semi-randomly generate characters and situations that people, the idiots that are playing in this game will
Well, now
obviously
hold
be getting
on.
into. You have to be
Who's
able
who's
to
the idiot
adapt to
here?
that. So tools like ChatGPT just blow that out of the water.
Hmm.
Like they can provide so much more detail, which is terrifying because
Hmm.
all of these new AIs that are coming out. Like I think I was talking to you about this the other day, Isaiah, which was the we discussed the concept of uh, art generated by AI replacing actual artists, and
Yeah.
how prevalent that is right now. Like there are thousands of people out there who are facing extinction because I say thousands. I have no idea how many artists there are. Probably millions. I have no idea how many of
It's
y'all.
actually all
Yes, all
artists
art in
themselves.
general. Yes, except for my art because I am
Yeah, you're special.
irreplaceable, right?
You're different. You're not like other girls.
It's so it's cheap. It's cheap to make art using an AI. I
Yeah.
mean, monetarily, because you could just have this thing generate art for you, and then
Yeah.
you don't have to pay artists for it. And you can even train AI using artists' art so it can replicate their style.
And you know what's crazy about this is like we knew this was coming. We knew this was the future, and now it's here and it's arrived, and we're still, it's mind blowing what it's capable of doing.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
it doesn't even just stop at art. Like
mm-mm.
I've seen like McDonald's trying to automate the process of making a hamburger using their little grabby robot, doing various
God.
things with that, right? It's like, well, if that goes through, that's going to be a huge chunk of the population that won't have a job anymore. Not just
Yep.
McDonald's workers. I'm saying the removal of people from services that are looking to be automated.
Mm-hmm.
And
Like factories.
yes. And when that happens, what happens to those people? They go get another job. Where are the other jobs? Those are getting automated too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
No, please talk. I there's a thought I'm trying to recall.
oh, okay. And it, and yeah, it'll be crazy. It's going to get to the point where we are going to learn so much so quickly from these AI, that it's a brand new breed of learning. If we source it right, like you give it all the wrong information, it goes to shit really, really fast. Um,
Yeah, I think
so
that which one was it that they released on Twitter and then it became like racist and misogynist and all this other
Oh my
stuff
god.
because it was just a bunch of people that were feeding it like terrible things, and so at the
yeah,
end it just was like they had to shut it down because it was
yeah,
it turned evil basically.
it's yeah, it started spitting out like anti-Semitist stuff.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't remember the name of that. I feel like it was one of Google's AI.
I can't remember
It
either.
might have been Google or Facebook. It was something like that.
Uh-huh.
This is my first time hearing about this. This is crazy.
So do you feel in the art side of things, do you feel like it's a major danger, and it'll completely phase out like physical artists at some point? You got to figure it at some point it'll become like a niche sort of thing because you won't have to go to an art show and hope that somebody has expressed something that you have felt in a way that you connect with. Now you can just tell a computer exactly the way you feel about something and what would make you connect with it, and you have it right there. And you could that's an NFT.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an NFT.
See, I feel like artists, in particular, not artists, illustrators, I think is the proper term for them, are currently under the hot seat because that's where people are currently using it. But and for a while, I felt like, oh, they couldn't, like an AI couldn't possibly edit a video for me because it's so subjective to how I want that video to be edited.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's totally a process similar to nobody could replicate my style of art, of I keep saying art, my style of drawing, because it's my style and it's exactly how I want to do it. But with these AI being able to train themselves on all the small details that an artist puts into their work, it's not just illustrators, I feel like, are going to fall prey to this. It's anybody who has done work that an AI can look at, copy, and then replicate. And then you're out of a job because you're like, you've released enough of how you do things that a machine could go, yeah, I can do exactly what you did. Cookie cutter. But
Right.
I think the major difference is if it can take what you've done and expand upon it, which I feel like isn't something that an AI can do unless
Not yet.
Yeah, unless it like plugs into your algorithm that, like YouTube has that is pushing all of this stuff to us. It's like, oh, I know what this guy likes. I know what he consumes. And I can guide him in the direction of, okay, we're getting really into conspiracy here.
Have you taken anything to make you unsober, sir? Because that's something I know about you.
Unsober?
Yep. Hey, 420 comes twice a day, okay?
No, I have not taken anything like that. I exist in conspiracy.
That makes sense.
But that's a very good quote.
I can see
420
that.
does come twice a day.
Don't worry if you miss it though. You just wait 2 minutes because that's 422.
Oh, so it's
God damn.
Yeah.
I had something I was gonna say. What was I gonna say? Um, what was I gonna say? Shit.
Was it about
I mean,
AI?
shoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it was just because we were talking about how like AI is like just advancing so much in such a short amount of time. I mean, people use AI to basically take animation and try to make 60 frames per second animation videos because the AI
Mhm.
basically kind of predicts and draws out what happens between those frames of less those what the hell the frames that are missing to
Mhm.
make it look a lot more fluid. And a lot of times, it works pretty decently. Um, it does, have some glitches and mess ups here and there because it's not a perfected system, but it's very, I don't know, I guess interesting to just wonder where it's gonna end up being within like the next 5 years or so.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think that the terms you were talking about are the in betweens between the keyframes.
yeah.
Yes, yeah. I think one of the things that blew up recently using that exact kind of technology was if you guys have seen Joel Haver's videos on YouTube.
Joel Haver.
Joel
No, I
Haver,
haven't.
he was he did uh oh god, well he's done a lot now, but he started with a like RPG sort of spoof thing. He was
Mm-hmm.
like getting started for your first time in an RPG or something like that, and it was AI assisted rotoscope. So he basically recorded himself live action and then
Oh,
plugged himself into this program or utilized this program and another program that basically turned it into an animation using his body as the keyframes that the AI then filled in all of the rest of it. And so I don't know
that's how that
how
works. Okay.
long it takes to do it because I saw it and he even released a video of how he did it. And I bookmarked that and went, dude, I should totally do this. But he released that like 2 years ago, and I haven't found the time to sit down and figure out how long does this take to actually do.
Mhm.
But it was literally just one dude. I guess it was two guys because it was him and another actor friend of his who sat down, did this, recorded themselves live action, and then it was him and an AI in the editing bay, and out the other side came a viral video. It's pretty
Yeah.
magical.
Mhm.
I believe you showed me one or a few of his videos because I remember looking or watching it and I was like, this feels like just something from Adult Swim.
Yeah, totally. It's a very similar vibe. I mean, he's worked with pretty famous people. I think he's worked with Justin Roiland before all the
Oh,
controversy
snap.
surrounding him now. But he worked with him at one point. He got him for a video, and he did a sketch for some big show. And
Mhm.
I'm now remembering all of these weird facts about him over the past couple of years that he's been on YouTube. He had one of his sketches stolen by SNL. There's all this sort of stuff that
Dang.
was just like this guy's he's pretty successful. I think he drives around the country in a van now. Just kind of visits people and does collaborations.
Hmm.
Yeah. He's
That'll be me one day.
yeah. It's gonna be great. That's gonna be great.
Sometimes I wonder about that. Like I feel like there are times in your life where you definitely have it mapped out where if you were to just pack everything you could carry right now and go somewhere, I feel like there have been times in my life where I'm like, yeah, I know exactly where I'd go. I'd go here. As I say here as an adult, I'm like, Jesus, why would I ever just up and leave?
There's a lot of anchors, man. A lot of anchors tie people down.
Yeah.
You're telling me.
Yeah.
I'm at the point though where it's like all my exes live in Texas. I gotta get the hell out of here,
You
man,
just
dude.
gotta
So
relocate to Dallas. That's like a whole nother world up there, really.
It really is. It's kind of crazy.
so Isaiah, you haven't been around this late episode of me dating a woman and then going through the breakup and everything.
Yeah.
Um, and there's this like weird, it was a perfectly normal process. There's no bad blood there at all. Um, but there's like these things that keep popping up and like little things all around that it's like, damn, dude, you want to just rub a little bit more salt in that wound. So for example, They have now permanently parked the food truck that was our favorite food truck to go out to. It used to be on South Congress, where I never would have seen it again. Now it's right out front of the building that I work in. And I
Oh,
Oh,
was like,
dang.
and so like every day I walk by it and I'm like, ouch. And one day, I was like I was driving downtown and I was like heading home and I saw that like a bus drove by, and you know how sometimes they have those ads painted across them for like upcoming events and stuff.
right.
Yeah.
And it was her upcoming event that there was an ad for, and
Oh,
it was like strolled right by me, and I was like, "Oh my god, just keep kicking me while I'm down." And then yesterday, where this story is about the apex, yesterday, I took a girl who works in the lab right next to me out to coffee because I shattered her fume hood. But that's a completely different story.
not a euphemism.
Um,
That's a real thing. Yeah.
no, yeah, I shattered a blast shield on accident.
Jesus.
Yeah. But anyway, so I told her and I was like, "Hey, like I definitely owe you coffee for that. Like, don't get me wrong, I was the one that called maintenance and made sure it got fixed and I took care of it and everything, but it's stressful nonetheless." So I was like, "Hey, let me take you for coffee or lunch or something." Um, and she was like, "Yeah, sure." So she messaged me yesterday and she was like, "Hey, are you ready to go grab coffee?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's go." So we go, we're having this conversation. I was like, "So what do you like to do in your free time?" Like this conversation's going really, really well. Very easy to talk to, like very enjoyable person, very easy to like empathize with and understand. Um and I was like, "So what do you like to do in your free time?" And she was like, "Oh, I really like to dance." And I was like, "Oh, that's funny. My the boys just took me out to this Western two-step place the other night."
Right.
Um, and she was like, "Oh, no, no, no. I do ballet." And I was like,
Oh.
"Oh, okay." And I like paused and I was like, where do you practice that?"
Uh-oh.
and and of course it was the same company and I was like, "Oh." And I was
Oh,
in my
no.
brain, and she was like, "Yeah, I have practice tomorrow." And in my brain I was like, "Oh no." And I was like, "Oh, around what time?" And she was like, "The afternoon." I was like, "God damn it." I was like, "My ex is your teacher."
Oh, dude.
Oh.
Oh
It's a
my god.
God
certified small
dang.
world moment right there.
Dude,
You gotta get
for
out of there,
real.
dude.
For real. I couldn't believe it.
Good lord.
Jeez.
Perhaps we should talk about what you actually do for a living
Oh,
to provide some context for him shattering a blast hood.
oh yeah.
So what
Sorry.
would you describe as your job?
Mm. I am a monkey that pushes buttons.
I
Reasonably
feel
so.
like
No, so technically what I do now, so I started as a base like research assistant, where I walked up to my boss every day and I was like, "Hey, what protocols am I doing today?" And he would hand me a piece of paper and he'd be like, "Can you take care of this?" And I would go, "Yep." And that would be it. I would go and run his protocols. Um, and then around last year, we had this big shift in the company. We started taking a lot of people on. So to preface that, I work for Irisian, which is a biotechnology startup based in Austin, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can find our website online. We're about to rebrand, so it's about to look sick. Anyway,
Nice.
so yeah, last year we kicked off this major project because we had a flaw in our technology that kind of fundamentally broke down what we were doing. And that's kind of all I can disclose about it for now in public. But
He got that NDA status.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I think I can legally. I think I can tech.
Whoa,
I
whoa,
think I
whoa,
can.
whoa, whoa, whoa,
We
whoa.
don't want to get into legal trouble now.
We have zero legal status on this team.
That's how you get
Don't you know we
demonetized.
cannot afford a lawyer right now?
Get demonetized real fast. Um, so anyway, yeah, we kind of had this major issue with our technology, and it turned into this massive all hands on deck. Every single person in the company is working on this. If you're doing something that isn't this, you're fucking up. Was kind of the vibe.
Classic. Yeah.
Um,
No stress, no pressure.
so yeah, exactly. So we did a lot of research, and one of the big things when you are inventing a technology like this is you have to get a lot of publications out. Because what we're inventing will be an analytical technology, which is to say, like, you would use this instrument to look at. So we look at proteins in tiny chunks. So your proteins make up all of your cellular structure, a lot of your cellular mechanisms. So things like ATP synthase, and hemoglobin, which transfers oxygen to your blood, or through your blood, through your circulatory system, is a protein, and it is made up of the 20 amino acids. In contrast to that, most people know about DNA sequencing. DNA has a certain sequence. It's made up of the four nucleic acid pairs, and then uracil. uh, Proteins work in the same way, except there's 20 amino acids as opposed to four nucleic acids. So it's infinitely more complex um, when you get down to that level. So our technology takes these proteins and chops them up into tiny pieces, and those are known as peptides. They're about 10 to 15 amino acids long, depending on how you chop them up. You can use certain, they're known as enzymes. They're basically biological scissors in this case. They can be lots of different things. In this case, they function as scissors, and they cut your peptide up at certain positions, or they cut your protein up at certain positions. Sorry. Um, and so that already gives you some information about what the sequence of this whole protein is, because you know where you cut that strand. After that, what we do is we put that peptide onto, we basically tie it to the ground, in a chemical sense, and then we force. Sorry, that's a terrible analogy. Anyway,
I
um,
would have asked a question, except I don't know what I should question here.
well, I will explain it in the way that I should have probably started. Is
Explain it to me
so
like I'm 5 or younger than
so
5.
Give
like I
me
said,
like 3 years old.
they have this sequence just like DNA does, right?
Right?
Um, and it's a specific sequence for your specific protein. And the fundamental concept behind our technology is it's a lot like playing Hangman. Um, my bosses tend to say Wheel of Fortune, but I like Hangman better. Um, because in Hangman, there's a certain strategy, right? The first thing you usually do is you choose the vowels because you know every single word in the English language has a vowel in it. It's just kind of the rule.
Yeah.
So you go for the vowels first. It's a strategy. And if you know in Hangman the general, like you know the terms, the category, you know, kind of like what the term refers to, whether it's a movie or like a school subject or whatever. And you can see the vowels. You don't have to have all of the letters to guess what the word is. You can guess what the word is before you have all of the letters down, because you have some knowledge walking in. You know generally what the English language is composed of, and you know in general, if I have four blanks and there's two E's in it in the second and the fourth position, that word could very well be here. It might be were, or it could be some other things. And there's some statistical probabilities that come with that, but it depends on the category, right?
Right,
Here
and it would
is a
at the
very
very least like lower the odds of picking that specific one down, right? Just because
right.
kind of know.
Yeah, well, and like here is a word that you use in a very different context from what was the other one I said?
Were
Were.
Yeah. So you kind of know, like I said, again, based on the context that you're given, like you know in general that you're looking at a human cell or you're looking at a chicken cell or you're looking at something. And we have a lot of these databases about these proteins. We know already their sequence. So all we have to do is compare it to this database that already exists. And ultimately, we want to use it as a medical diagnostic tool to detect for degenerative diseases such as Parkinson's um, and oh, what's the other one? The Michael J. Fox Foundation. Is that Parkinson's?
Michael J.
Alzheimer's.
Fox.
Alzheimer's is the other one I was thinking of. That we're making a big push for
Does
in
Michael
the
J.
practical
Fox have?
application.
He has.
He has Parkinson's, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah.
Oh
Shout out to
yeah,
them
yeah,
for
yeah.
funding a lot of
That's
our
Marty
research, by the way.
McFly. Yeah, that's Marty McFly.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why his name didn't immediately click in my brain.
Yeah.
You're a fake fan.
So yeah, what I ended up doing last year is we kicked off this big project and to fix this problem with the science that we had. Um, and it was this big push, and they handed me this idea of it was basically the very, very synthetic heavy project. And in chemistry, what that means is it's a lot of reactions, it's a lot of steps, it's a lot of work, and it can sometimes get really dangerous depending on the chemicals that you have to use to make the reactions go. And you have to do it at extremely large scales because you have to start very early in the process and work your way down. So I ended up inventing a technology that helped mitigate and ultimately solve the problem that we were having with our technology, with the help of all my colleagues, of course, and a lot of good guidance that I had along the way. Um, and now what I do is I have taken that technology and I am now responsible for turning it into a product that we can sell. Is the ultimate goal. So a big objective of what I try to do is I try to Walter White the shit out of everything. And it's make it bigger, make it cheaper, but make it just as good.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's the whole job that I do now is it's make the reactions better, make them safer, make them cost effective, find cheaper ways to do it, whatever have you. It's all I manage all the resources. I do a lot of the synthesis, and I set up a lot of the infrastructure for the company right now, since it is a startup.
But one of those reactions blew up a blast hood in front of somebody else.
No, no,
Oh.
no, no, no. I did that with my bare hands.
Oh,
No,
he's
yeah,
just that strong.
yeah. So like I said, it's this girl that I was talking about earlier, and it's kind of around Thanksgiving. Um, And so there's not a lot of people around. And I'm sitting there at my bench, just running some experiments, just kind of like, pipetting stuff like a weirdo and listening to music. And all of a sudden I hear from the doorway, just a little hello. And I looked over and I was like, what? And there's this girl stood in the hallway and she goes, are you strong? And I looked down and I thought to myself, and I was like, I haven't worked out in like 2 years. I have such bad smoker's lung that it could probably be compared to an iron lung.
Oh,
And I was like,
oh no.
I just looked down and I went, in theory. And she was like, can you come help me open something in my lab? And I was like, oh. And I sat there and I said, this is actually something I am surprisingly good at, which is very true. For some reason, I'm very good at opening chemical bottles.
Is this like the pickle jar scenario?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I see.
Between that and compressed gas cylinders, like I just rip those things apart because I what do you call it? I strip the threads all the time. Um,
What?
but
Strip the threads.
well, you got to screw it,
Right.
and the screw, if you screw it too tight, then it whittles down, and then
Oh,
you can't
okay.
screw it effectively anymore, and you strip the screws or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I start walking over to her lab, and I look around, and I realize at this time, as I'm walking in there, that I have never seen any of the doors to this lab open in my life. And this could very well be the lab that I get murdered in, and
Oh
they're running like
no.
human experiments in there. But
You
anyway,
went into
the
like a restricted area that you
oh,
didn't
it
have
was just
access to.
it was just weird. Like I was looking around and it was just dead silent. Like the air was so still and there was
Oh.
nobody else in this lab at all. Um, and so I'm walking over and she's like, it's over there in the fume hood. And I was like, oh, okay, no problem. And so I walk over to the fume hood and there's this, very typical of fume hood in chemistry. There's some random ass piece of equipment that's taking up the entire left side of the hood that blocks everything else.
Hmm.
And I go over, and on the right side of the hood, there's these two chemical bottles that are sitting there. And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
And
And
at this point, you've like turned your back on this person who has invited you into the lab.
yes, and
Dang, that's oh god.
I have my back to her, and I go, it's this bottle right here. And I grab, so the fume hoods, they have, this one in particular has 4 panels, right? So that you can slide them side to side.
Okay.
And at any point in time, you can have one panel directly in front of you, and you can put your arms around it, and you have a blast shield. Um, and so I went to move one of these panels that is a blast shield out of the way, and I grabbed it just just with my hand, perfectly normal, gave it a little pinch, went to scoot it. It must have caught on the rail or something, and the whole thing just twisted and shattered all over me.
Oh boy.
Oh jeez.
And then the poor thing, she looks at me and she goes, I'll clean that up. I was like, why? I came in here like a barbarian and shattered your fume hood. So I
Could have
help her
just
clean it
Sparta
up.
kicked it, and then it would have had the same effect.
I know. So I help her clean it up, and then I'm like, okay, which bottle is it? And she's like, I don't need the bottles open. I need that machine open. And it's the one on the other side of the hood.
No.
I was like, I'm not even in the right place. Like, I have to touch another one of these panels.
Oh jeez.
Surely it won't happen a second time.
No, and thank God it didn't. And I was like, please God, tell me I can open this fucking machine right now.
Oh man, oh man.
So yeah, those are my long anecdotes for the hour.
Yeah, yeah. By the power of science. It's mind-blowing stuff.
Absolutely
It really
incredible.
is. Every time you describe it to me, I struggle to wrap my brain around it.
Yeah, it's I work in it and I do the same. It's
Yeah, yeah.
which yeah, honestly though, it makes it very fucking infuriating to get furniture from IKEA. Because
Okay.
I sit there with the manual and I try to put it together. I'm like, I solve the most complicated problems on the planet on a daily basis, and I can't use this fucking Allen wrench to put together this goddamn side table.
Yep.
Or as it's known in
Yep.
IKEA, a
A flurger. Yes. I feel like I got lucky with my Legos growing up,
The Legos.
because that taught me how to assemble things. It taught me how to follow directions.
Hmm.
That's
Like
a
a
really
good
good call.
sheep.
I I feel like I got the short end of that stick because my sister's dad, growing up, he had a whole bunch of Legos, but none of them. He just had like a trash can full of Legos.
Oh, right.
So it didn't really have instructions. It was more so, what can I build with my imagination? And it never ever came out to anything good. But I'm good at following instructions.
We had a very similar sort of. We usually get if and when we got a new like actual set, we would build the thing, and then it would inevitably devolve into, well, this is cool, but if we obliterate this and take the cool pieces out of it, we can put it into this thing, and then it'll be even cooler. And it never was, but man, little baby us, we were so into that stuff.
Yeah, we're kind of crazy.
Yep. It's actually one of the very first videos that I made as a child, a little stop motion animation with a Lego figure.
Oh, snap.
I don't know where that video went. In theory, it's still out there.
You just got to recreate it from memory.
Yeah. I mean, it was like a 30-second video that we made, but we had about 10 frames throughout all of that. So it wasn't I mean, granted, we were like 6, so it wasn't like we were very talented. It was just a matter of, okay, we move the figure forward this much, right? And then we take a photo of it. Then we move them forward this much, and we take another photo, right? And somewhere along the way, we went, this is taking too long. We should skip to the cool parts. Show that they've moved forward, show that they've kicked this thing, and then we're good to go, right?
It was a masterpiece. I can already tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how much time it takes to actually do legitimate.
It takes forever, dude.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to do like a really good one, you have to be so meticulous with it.
The claymation stuff freaks me out. What, Chris?
Do you think they like walk around to the camera, or do you think they have a button?
So I feel like depending on the setup, some people might just have like a button, so like they'll just walk out of frame, click, go next, go to the next one. But for people who have like less extravagant ones, I'm pretty sure they have like a camera just sitting on a stand, and then they just very minusculely move the arm up just a tad, walk around to the camera, click, all right, next one. All right, click, all right, next one.
As I understand it, the vast majority would use a remote, or like a clicker of some kind, because every time you push the button on top of the camera moves down just slightly, no matter how little you click it. So you kind of by necessity have to do it from a range electronically, or have like a thing plugged into the side to click.
That's so awful.
Yep.
Such a terrible detail I never thought of.
Yep.
It takes a lot of patience and imagination. For sure.
I don't know if I could do stop motion, just because it requires such focus, and I don't think my ADHD would let me do that.
Honestly, same.
I do exactly what they have. You guys seen Parks and Recreation?
Yeah.
Do you remember the scene with oh god, what's the character's name? Adam, I think. Whatever that character's name is, where he makes like Requiem for a Tuesday or whatever. He's like, I spent 2 weeks working on this, and then it's like a 5-second video of this guy standing up out of bed and turning to the left. He's like, I spent 2 weeks, sleepless nights. Like, that's exactly how far I would get into it and then go, this is taking too long. I can't do this.
Yeah, I think I get impatient enough with flip books that that would not. Yeah, do you remember flip books? You
Like
get,
the little and it makes an animation thing.
Uh-huh.
Are you talking about making them or using them?
Making them.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I've tried making
absolutely
one
not.
before. It was my very first one. It was like high school, because I was really obsessed with like stop motion and animation at the time. So I was like, I'm gonna make my own flip book, and it's gonna just go uphill from here. And it was just a basketball bouncing, and it was bad. It didn't get very far.
I think my older brother made one, but I could never figure out how to make it work properly. Any of them, really, because do the thing, and it's like it didn't work. I'll
Yeah.
do it again. Didn't work. Like I don't know.
think,
I
like-
just never figured it out, and then I gave up on flip books and haven't touched one in 20 years.
I think like the most optimal way to do it is to start from the last frame and work your way backwards. That way you can see like through the paper where the last frame was, and then you can draw from that point.
Oh yeah.
But I think I made the mistake of doing it the other way, and so the basketball ended up on the other side of the page in like 2 or 3 flips because I couldn't remember where it was at. Animation is hard.
Yeah, there. I remember there used to be back in the age of the Nintendo DS. There used to be this little
Flipnote.
application, yeah, called Flipnote Hatena or Hatena
Yeah.
or however it was pronounced.
Mhm.
That thing
I do-
was magical.
It was.
Some of the creations on there just astonishing,
Mhm.
and the vast majority of them didn't survive when that service went down.
Of course not. Most
Yep.
people didn't even have their DSi
Yeah.
because that's what it was exclusive to.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely devastating.
It's a sad era for all animators.
Mm-hmm.
The good news is there are still a couple of people on YouTube that are still making that style of content.
Yeah.
It's just sad that all of that whole archive of stuff is just gone. Yep.
Yeah.
It's a big part of a big part of a very specific section of a lot of people's childhood.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys remember
Absolutely.
this weird app that was on the... It's always funny seeing those memes in the modern era of people like scrolling through like Safari or like Google Chrome on their DS, or it's split up into those two stupid screens.
Listen.
It's a good time, man. If it works,
It
right?
was. When I had my 3DS, my phone, I had a really crappy phone, so I used my DS to go online, and like I would just like read on there, which is probably the last time I ever really read. But I would
Reading
just like
has definitely
read.
fallen off in the modern era. That is very true.
Absolutely. Excuse me. I definitely have learned that I need picture books in order to stay focused in reading. And by picture books, I mean graphic novels.
See, all you got to do is just take what is that? What is the ADHD medication?
I don't know.
Adderall.
Adderall. That's the one. Yeah. In case you ever want to read a book, you just got to get souped up on Adderall, and then you can
Yeah.
focus.
I mean, it's not like reading technically isn't dead, right? You just read the like Discord all day. You just read conversations.
You guys
And
read?
You guys can read?
In this economy? Absolutely not.
Oh, dude, don't even fucking start. I signed a lease for a new apartment, and I'm about to move in the next week.
Mhm.
Yeah, the week after this one coming up. And I went to go check and see if I could log into a resident portal yet or anything on their website. The rent for the apartment I literally just signed a lease for went down by $100.
It's messed up, dude. It's messed up. Hardcore. These
Fucking
people
devastating.
are scam artists.
Absolutely. Excuse me.
You are excused.
Did you hear that? The sniffle?
Yes, I did. That's going in the final version.
Oh, if you listen to it, you're just gonna hear me sniffling throughout this entire thing.
Oh,
Like I'm still recovering from being a little sick, from the
Oh.
ice storm. Because unfortunately, I was on call that whole week, and I was out in the ice, and I ended up getting sick, and it was just a whole
Jeez.
ordeal. It was a little rough. It wasn't like terrible or anything, but on Monday, I could barely even breathe out of my nose.
Yeah. Well, you know what? My little brother, who worked as an electrician for a little while, said that a lot of electricians don't like to go from warm to hot. Sorry, from warm to cold, like coming in from the outside and then going back out into the warm again, and then back into the air conditioning and then back out into the warm, because that's how you get a stroke.
I'm surprised I haven't had a stroke yet.
Really?
Yeah, like increases your chance of having a stroke.
That's
so
crazy.
bizarre.
Yeah. I don't know. The only reason I know that is because I know a person that was an electrician. Oh my! Did you guys hear that? That scared
Was that your cat?
That was Ginger. She's yelling at me.
She's
She's gonna mess with
pissed.
you again.
Yeah, all the animals.
Every time.
All the animals around here are mad at me right now for various
What
reasons.
did you do? Oh my god.
She's just yelling at me. Hey, Ginger. Wait, I know.
Oh my god. She's got a very deep and angry meow.
Yeah, she does.
Mhm.
She was like that when she was a baby. I know, Ginger. I know. Yeah, do you want to come up here? You can make it. I promise.
This happens every
she's
week.
just gonna yell at me and walk away.
Probably
Classic.
deserve it.
Well, we have hit the hour, so I suppose. Thanks for coming, Chris. It's a pleasure having you on.
Yeah, it was really nice to be here. I appreciate it.
Yep. I guess
Yes, sir.
we'll see season. What season is this? Is this season?
This is still
2?
season 2. I feel like
season 2. Season 3. What we
are
have?
we, are we starting season 3 soon?
Recycling guests. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Come on, Ginger. Come on.
What if we don't have enough guests to
Come on,
recycle
Yeah.
in season 3? What if we have to start recycling this season?
Well, then you'll be back even sooner, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I'm around.
He just comes back as a different alias, but still says the exact same stuff.
As we asked the same question. It's the same episode. We just changed me.
Exactly.
Yeah. Maybe when you gotta push, have a big advertising push for the company, you could come on here and take advantage of our audience.
Make like 8 podcasts in a row.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing nothing but basically like tele ads.
Yeah. This is the start. Now that you have one podcast under your belt, it just snowballs from here, and then
He
soon
actually, at some point,
you will get on Joe Rogan. Yeah.
He just takes over Lamb on the John for a couple episodes.
Yeah. Explain it in detail.
Like I said, I had to be careful because I was like, this is the one, man, that people are going to dig up in 12, 20 years or something, and I'm going to get canceled for it.
I didn't think you said anything cancelable.
Nah, I don't think so.
Not this time.
Not yet. Hold my beer.
It's just a matter of time.
I think it's time to end that.
So what about them?